SkyFire AI. What we do at SkyFire AI is develop artificial intelligence that enables autonomous and multi-ship drone operations. Multi-ship drone operations sometimes is called swarm. We tend to stay away from swarming depending on the environment, largely because there's kind of dystopian YouTube videos about swarming. What we really think of when we're doing it is a little bit different than that. And I'll talk about that here in a moment. So what are we really doing? And I am going to put this into presentation mode. And I apologize if you only see a little bit on this. But I did want you to see this animation build on this. What we really think we're doing is using AI and drones to save lives. There's a hashtag AI, hashtag drones for good, AI for good. And we do it by compressing response time in emergency situations, and we do it by increasing situational awareness. So again, hopefully this may be appearing small on your screen, but what this is a screenshot of the work that we did covered by NBC News after Hurricane Helene in North Carolina back in the fall. We're actually credited with saving 13 lives during that event. We saved 9 lives from search and rescue work and 4 from delivering critical medications. And for the team, it was this incredibly powerful moment where it demonstrated what we could do, how we could do it, and the impact that we could have. Even more critically, and in some ways more powerfully for the team, through one of our key engagements with the Huntsville Police Department in January, about 7 days after we went live with the Huntsville Police Department, we saved the life of a police officer who was at midnight shift, had been attacked by a perpetrator who turned out to be an escaped convict. The drone was able to find the officer and the convict in the fight. And while the convict was going for the gun, the drone was able to redirect other ground units that arrived on the spot and within 45 seconds and save the day. It was an incredibly validating moment for the team. This is a clip from Andrew Ng's The Batch newsletter. Andrew is our lead investor. AI Fund has been our lead investor since our pre-seed round, and he wrote about us. He was very taken with the story, an example of how you could use AI to save lives. So what do we actually do? As I mentioned, it is an AI layer that is hardware agnostic, a command and control layer that layers over top of any kind of drone. And enables that drone to fly without a pilot, and then potentially in a swarming situation if the situation calls for that. So the key element here is an agentic stack, which I'll go into a little bit more. I will say, and for what it's worth, we've been using agent-based AI and stacks before agentic was a buzzword. So we really started the company around this about 2 years ago. We were very incented 2 years ago by watching what was happening in the war in Ukraine. And the theory was, on the defense side, could you actually have 20 aircraft for a single pilot or no pilot at all? That would be a force multiplier that would allow the Ukrainians to stand up against the aggressors. And with respect to public safety, could you use a drone as a force multiplier for departments where you saw the level of law enforcement maybe being negatively impacted post-COVID? You saw churn with hiring and about a 30% understaffing across the police forces of the United States. The answer, we believed, was yes at the time, and we think we have pretty good evidence to demonstrate that. A little bit about what we've managed to accomplish as a company. First and foremost, the global TAM here is enormous. It's a $50 billion TAM across the categories in which we operate. We are anticipating 100% CAGR, but I'll say it'll be at least 350% this year. It'll probably even be more than that. So we are projecting 3.4 million for 2025, and that's up from 1 million last year. We are actually at a run rate of 3.7 right now. So we're feeling pretty comfortable with the 3.4 this year. And we recently upped our forecast. That's what that $11 million in 2026 year timeframe comes from. Our clients today are by and large in the public safety category. We are beginning to make progress within the defense space. And the dark horse that we didn't necessarily see 3 years ago was the commercially adjacent category. Includes, for example, SAIC. And when I say commercially adjacent, think critical infrastructure. Think about companies that are very close to our core mission. So SAIC is actually working with the Department of the Army around providing overwatch capabilities for deployed battalions, companies, grade and platoon grade formations, and we would provide that capability via SAIC as a subcontractor. Darley is the world's largest fire engine manufacturer, family-owned business, and they're looking at the concept of having a drone for every one of the fire engines eventually that they sell and then ultimately are deployed in the field. And CVS Health is really our big one. I'll show you this quick graphic here. This is one of our hardware partners that we work with, fitted with a defibrillator that we've put on the drone. That drone with the defibrillator within one of our jurisdictions can arrive on site within 2.5 to 4 minutes. If someone's having a heart attack, that gets you within the critical time frame and much faster than an ambulance in every area where we're deployed. So CVS ultimately believes that they can leverage this capability as well as avoid specialty drug logistics costs leveraging us in addition to doing a variety of other tasks. Ultimately, they see 3 of our drones deployed across 9,000 rooftops, reaching 85% of the US population within 6 years. Would be an enormously large program for us. A little bit about the team. We are almost all from national defense or public safety or EMS fire department type backgrounds. I myself was a Navy flight officer, and I come from 3 generations of public safety and law enforcement. So think about what happened with the officer in Huntsville. That rings pretty true to me personally and was an incredibly moving moment for me and my family as well as for the company. Eric Malwar, my co-founder, CIA clandestine service for 12 years before becoming an entrepreneur. Brian Davidson came from DARPA, where he was for the last 3, he was 17 years at DARPA, the last 3 of which he ran machine learning. And Matt Sloan created the UAS UAV program for CNN before taking it out and serving clients, including as an independent contractor, the first police department to ever adopt drones. I'm not going to read through the entire list here. Andrew Ang, I've mentioned him before. He's actually been pretty involved in helping us from a technology perspective. Mike Rogers is worth pointing out. Mike ran the UAS UAV program at the FBI. So collectively, we really have a lot of talent in the space that focuses on how to bring drones and drone capability out to broader swaths on a public safety basis. In the interest of time, I'm happy to go deeper into the technology during the Q&A session, but you see here an example of how we absorb data, for example, from a 911 call. We use an agentic platform in order to be able to load machine learning models onto the drones in real time, launch them, conduct the mission, and return to base. And you can see this was just an example of how swarms can be useful in search and rescue. This is an example of the telemetry and display that a watch commander, for example, would look at. And we like to highlight the fact that our technology is the same whether you're using it in a, for example, police active shooter response situation, or it's dual use. You can use it in a military situation as well. Again, competitive differentiation, happy to talk about that more in the interest of time during a Q&A session. I talked about our financials. We called up next year, 2026, kind of rule of 3 through 2026 from a SaaS basis, and then slow in a little bit as we move into the out years. But again, tremendous growth and a lot of tailwinds in the space. We are raising $4 to $5 million. It's a $16 million cap, post money safe with a 20% discount. We did raise $1 million in March of 23 and $1 million in September of 24. AI Fund has led all of our rounds, and the use of proceeds is all technology focused, R&D on the technology side in particular, in addition to current build, as well as sales. We actually hired our very first salesperson on March 1st. So he's still kind of up to speed. He hasn't sold a thing yet. So everything you've seen sold so far has been inbound and founder-driven sales. And with that, I'm happy to take questions.
Awesome. Awesome. Somebody's keeping track of his time. So thanks for doing that. Right down to 30 seconds. So I know Dimitri's got some questions. So where Where is Natalia or Cheyenne? Hand out the microphone. As soon as I saw patents, I knew Dimitri would have questions.
Don, thank you for your presentation. You have mentioned material you provided before that you have 3 patent applications.
3 other applications.
Do you have 3 patent applications or how many?
We've got 1 filed and 3 patent applications coming.
And the one you filed, is it assigned in the company?
I'm sorry, you said
Is it assigned in your company name?
yes.
I could not find it. Did you find it recently?
No, but we had a stealth name which we were operating under. It's probably filed under that Myriad Technologies Corp. But I can, if it's of interest, I'm happy to upload the provisional patent into the data room.
Wait, is it a provisional application or a non-provisional?
It is currently provisional, right? We filed the patent, we got provisional status. That's where it's sitting right now.
Okay. Can you please, would you mind sending it to Jeff, both the specification and the claims?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Ding Sheng has questions. All of our patent and super technical people are asking questions.
Thanks for the presentation. I think during your presentation, you mentioned that your main product is that AI layer that interfaces with the hardware of the drone. But I'm curious, like, is the hardware part of your product itself, or is it like, the public safety officer, they already have procured the drone and then you just install the software? Is that more like it?
So yeah, look, I'll use an example. We literally just closed our largest client, or our largest public safety client last week. It's City of Birmingham. It actually just hit the news in the last 24 hours. That program is a perfect example. We will guide them to the purchase of hardware. We will choose one of our hardware partners that has hardware we think is appropriate to that mission. Our software layers over top. To sell hardware, drone hardware specifically, to the federal government, you need to be on something called a blue list, which you may be aware of. The blue list requires that you have a standard API that can be accessed by companies like us. And one of the things that we're watching happen this year is this bifurcation between hardware and software. Increasingly, there are companies that just do one or just do the other. And that's driven by a number of factors, but it looks a lot like the IoT business did about 5 years ago. So we believe the economics are principally in the software. We can work across any blue list drone program. We can also work across some that are not on the blue list. For anything made out of China, like DJI is not on the blue list, for example, and ineligible for that. We can also work across their API. I will also add that there's one company that we work very, very closely with that manufactures drones. It was a spin out from Boeing, and it's just coming out of stealth mode now. They're called SkyFire, and we actually can build our hardware directly on their processor. That doesn't really add a whole lot of value technologically, but it does create an opportunity. It may add some value at the large swarm level. We're not sure yet. We don't operate yet at the large swarm level. By the way, that's defined as anything north of 25 drones. But it certainly operates at a 25 or less. There's not really an edge technologically for being on the processor versus the API. But what we are able to do is almost serve as a program manager and sometimes design some of the drones to be bespoke to the mission needs of the client we're serving.
Okay, and a very, very quick follow-up on this one. So it seems like because you're running some AI software on your drone, I guess there will be some need for outfitting the drone with some kind of like edge computing capability. So is that part of your product, or is that also from the blue list?
The most drones that you would use for a public safety application like this, they're about $30,000 to $35,000. Most of them have a processor sufficient to be able to load with the kind of models that we put on it. We can load 10 to 12 models for a particular mission. And you just can't put, for example, like in Birmingham, we imagine that we'll ultimately have upwards of 300 to 350 models